Slow. All right, everyone who isn't here, master your money mindset. So, like I just said really quickly, a lot of our money mindset comes down to these three things. So, beliefs, culture, and family. Because at the end of the day, money is actually just energy. And we as people put all these emotions and feelings and we give meaning to money. That's why everyone feels so differently about money because we've all got different beliefs, we've all got different culture, we've all had different upbringings. Like someone who has been raised in a rich household that's got boats and cars and going on holidays and yada yada is going to have a completely different emotional attachment to, let's say, people who are living in poverty and have no idea what it's like to have so much money, right? So it's just remembering that money is energy, it's just a resource, but we are adding all of these things to it because of what we've gone through. And I want you to know that as of today, you get to change that. As an adult, you get to decide what beliefs you want to have about money, no matter your upbringing, no matter what your family says, no matter what your friends say. At the end of the day, you get to choose how you feel about money, and that's all that matters. Okay? And the way we're going to start doing that is really by focusing on our language around money. So it's things like, what are you saying? What are you not saying? What are you projecting? And what are you thinking about? So it's like things, for example, when you go on a shopping spree, right? We fucking love spending money. Okay. And then all of a sudden the next day, we've got a bill to pay. And then we're like, oh, fuck, I'm so annoyed. I'm so stressed. Rah, rah, rah. But is it money's fault that we are feeling this way and we're saying these things about money? It's not, right? It's us for not being more mindful, right? We're allowed to spend money and we're allowed to have fun, but not if the next day something important needs to be invested in and you don't actually have the money for it. So it's just about being mindful. And when you are spending that money, it's being cautious of what you're saying about it. Because, like I said, money is energy. So, what we say about money, money is going to feel it. Okay. And I know that might sound a little weird, especially if like you're in this space, you get it. And the girls that are in this, you're all totally going to get this. But when I harp on about money being energy, it's what we give it and how we treat it is how it's going to treat us back. Okay. So if we're saying mean things to our friends, guarantee they're not going to like it, right? Like, why would we do that? We wouldn't. So it's literally the same thing about money. And I want you to start focusing on that when you do spend money, when you receive money. Like, are you saying thank you when you receive money, or are we just taking it for granted because it's there every day? Right? That's a big thing to start focusing on, is really our language about money. And when you start to focus on your own language, you'll start noticing what other people say, especially the negativity around money. But I just want you deep down to remember that money is energy. And as long as your energy is good with money, then money's going to fucking froth it. Okay? With our relationship with money, it's so important to start treating it. Like I said before, like we wouldn't say mean things to our friends, right? So the same thing with money is that if we can actually start treating it as a relationship, like literally top tier, like we love money more than everyone and everything in this world, and we're going to start building that love towards money. No matter if there's a little bit of stress there, no matter if there's a little bit of anger or disappointment, it's knowing at the end of the day that we still love money no matter what. Just like with a partner, for example, you might have a fight, you might get angry at them, but at the end of the day, you still love them, right? So it's the same thing about money, and it's just getting our brain ticking around the fact that it's just another relationship. Because again, we're going back to energy, right? So let's start embracing it. Let's respect it. Let's treat it fairly. Let's love it. And accountability, right? Let's hold ourselves accountable in this relationship. Just like any relationship, if we treat someone like shit, they're probably going to treat us like shit back, right? Or they're not going to give us what we want. If we're disrespecting someone, then they're probably going to disrespect us. If we want love and respect and that fairness from someone else, we need to give it. So it's the exact same thing with money. In order for us to receive it and to feel good about money, we need to project that and we need to give it first. Okay? Because if we are more resistant with money, the less is actually going to come to us. Right. I don't know if you ever have those moments where you're like feeling really stressed about money. It's like you're trying to save and you don't want to spend, but then you're spending it. It's like this toxic cycle. It's because deep down there's probably a bit of a resistance, and money doesn't want to hang out with someone that's resistant, right? It's not about holding on to the money and never spending it. It's about spending it graciously and making soul aligned decisions that feel good. So, for example, would we prefer to spend $100 on booze and drugs versus $100 on a breathwork event? Or even $100 on an outfit that we know we're going to wear repetitively because it's an investment versus, oh, I'm not going to spend money because I'm scared. And what if I break my leg in 2 months and I need money for that? Right? That's resistance because we don't actually know that's going to happen. And I always say this to people who say that they're saving money for an emergency. It's like, you are always going to expect an emergency to occur if you're saving for one, right? And can we choose to save it for something better then? Because there's people out there who really struggle to save because they have nothing to actually save for. So, for example, you're going on holiday soon, right? Isn't it so much more fun saving for a holiday than it is saving for, I don't know, something that we don't even know what's happening? Does that make
Yeah.
sense, right? It's so much more fun, and that ties in with the whole resistance of like you could have $10,000 in your account, right? And you've got nothing to spend it on. And then all of a sudden there's an investment that you want to invest in. Let's say it's a mindset coach that we all know is like a few $1,000s. But if you don't do it because you're just holding on to the money for the sake of it, money's going to feel that resistance and be like, well, I don't want to come to you anymore because you're not actually letting us go,
Mm.
right? That's what money feels when there's that resistance. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if we're constantly focusing on, oh my God, I need to hold on to this, I better not let it go, rah, 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 your energy is always going to feel that way. It's always going to be icky because you're never letting it go. It's going to start collecting dust. We don't want our money to collect dust. Gross. We're going to clean it up and let it go so it can go do its thing, right? I love talking about money like this because I probably sound like a crazy lady to some people. But when you really embody this and like dive into money just being energy, it feels so much better. So, here are some tips on how we can work on our money mindset consistently because you know what? This session, as much as it's going to be fucking eye-opening and life-changing with the activities that we're going to do, it's not enough. Just like our mindset, we can't just have one session with a coach and expect to be cured and everything's better and we live in happy land for the rest of our lives. It's constant work, right? So, same thing with our money mindset is we're going to do these things from now on so that in 6 months' time, we're still feeling really fucking good about it because we're making moves with our money mindset. Yeah. So, with this note, we're going to be doing a couple of activities first. Oh, soon, sorry. But what I want you to do is I want you to hold on to this note. Like, I shit you not, I've got this note and I've had it for like a year on this dressing table because it reminds me that it's not going anywhere. And that's key because in our bank accounts, for example, it fluctuates so much. It goes up, it goes down, and we get nervous when it goes down, and we're so happy when it goes up, and then it goes down again, and then we feel like shit. And it's just like keeping a physical note is just that constant visual reminder that there is always going to be money every single fucking day when I wake up, even if it's $5 or 50 or 100 or $2 or 20 cents. It's always going to be there. So keeping that note with you, and I shit you not, speaking to it as if it's a person, because this is what's going to help us create that relationship, right? And start treating it as if it's that energetic resource, right? So saying good morning, say good night, saying goodbye. And if you want to tuck it in your bed, I don't care. Doing something that makes you embrace that relationship, okay? And treating it as more than just a number that we see on our bank account, okay? Even listening to music that talks about money. I don't know about you, but like back in the day, I used to listen to these rappers rapping about money. And I used to be like, fuck these guys. All they do is waste their money and rah, rah, rah. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, I made talking about money and singing about money such a bad thing without realizing these guys were just really enjoying it. And it's just about embracing it and actually talking about money. Because I don't know about you, like, do people get like people get so weird when it's like, oh, what's your salary? It's like this God forbidden thing. Like, you're not allowed to ask someone how much money they make or how much they sold their house for or whatever it is. It's like, why are we creating such negative beliefs when it should be something to celebrate? Like, how cool that you make this much money. How cool that you sold your house for that much. Like, again, coming down to that language, and it's like, if someone is like so scared to talk about it, that's the energy that they're going to hold onto money forever. It's a fear, it's a scarcity, right? Versus, I don't care if someone's like to me, how much is in your bank account? I will literally tell you right now because I'm not afraid anymore. In the past, I used to think like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. I'm in my late 20s. I don't have X amount of money and blah, blah. But it's like, who said how much money we're supposed to have? No
Mm.
one, just me. I decided, right? So it's just surrounding ourselves with that good language, listening to good music. A lot of the time it's rap songs. So if you like rap songs or not, just chuck one on and see how you feel. Even just seeing how you feel with people rapping about money. I feel like you probably like a little bit of rap music. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured so. You're like, yeah, these are my like songs. Anyway. Same thing with books. Oh my God. Think and Grow Rich. Have you read it?
I haven't, but it's literally on my bookshelf. Like it's on my
Oh my God. Okay. This book
list.
fucking changed everything for me. I think the reason why I made this session and like my money mindset masterclass was because of that book, because it just harped on so much about your desire around money and like the importance around money. And again, back to like the whole energy thing. So, highly, highly, highly recommend. And then there's a couple of other examples. Your bank account names, change them. Okay. We hate Westpac Choice. We fucking hate, like, straight up, like, once this information was given to me about like changing the names, I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna change it. So I think mine is like I love money or money loves me, or even my separate bank account for the business where I have to pay tax. It's literally called the Tax Queen. Because I'm like, no, literally, like no one wants to pay tax, but it's got to be done. So how can I make it better? When I see it, I'm like, all right, Slay, tax queen, there you go. And it just makes me feel so much better when I transfer that money into that account. So
Yeah.
little things like that, putting it in your visual awareness daily is it gives you that constant reminder of like, oh yeah, like money's good, but nothing to sweat,
Mm.
So and like I said in the past, like I used to be so nervous looking at my bank account and stuff, but every time I go to check it now, and because I've changed the bank account names, it's kind of like bringing me back into my body. It's like getting me out of my head, and it's like, oh, yes, like money loves me, like just literally little things like that. So life-changing. Listening to podcasts as well, obviously a great idea. Mindset Mentor, the Money Mindset podcast. The Mindset Mentor is more of like I guess just mindset in general, but there's some really good money ones in there too. Um, I need to update this. There's another one. I think I sent it in the group chat recently, the Wealthy and Healthy podcast or something. Really, really good podcast too. Highly recommend listening to those. Um, Gratitude, right? Like, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the time when I practice gratitude Sundays with you guys in the group chat, I always say grateful for money, for letting me spend it, for letting me use it, rah, rah, because at the end of the day, as much as we make decisions to go buy our coffee or to go buy clothes or invest in courses and stuff, it's like money is the reason why we're actually doing it. And it's so important to practice that gratitude. Like, I don't know about you, do you have like the notifications on your bank app when you spend it or when money comes in?
Yeah, like what
Like it
as in
pops up on your screen? Yeah. That's also like another reminder to be like, oh my God, thanks, money. Like literally, I'll go buy groceries and be like, thanks, money, when the notification pops up. Otherwise, I might forget. So it's just a great, like, little thing to start doing as well is every time it pops up, like just saying thank you. And even when you receive money, so when you get paid for these events, when you're getting your salary at work, it's just like, thank you like for coming into my account, thank you for coming into my world, like little things like that, because as much as we want to be grateful for spending it, like we've got to be grateful for receiving it too, right? um and then same with thing with passwords, like with the bank account, it's like change your passwords too. Like if there's anything that you're logging in, whether it's work or whatever it is, like changing it to something money related so that if you're not reading a book, you're not listening to a podcast, it's like, oh, here's my little money reminder for the day, you know? So these really great fucking tips. Okay. Affirmations, obviously. Okay. So if you want to pop it on your phone lock screen, on your laptop, on your mirror, wherever it is, writing it down on sticky notes, something that you can also see every single day, you know? Just because if you are having a moment where you're feeling stressed, because it's natural to feel these stressful emotions, right? Or anger around money. Because, like I said, as much as this is going to help, it takes time and patience and effort to finally come to that better relationship with money. And we really want to do our best to change that every single day and to work towards a better relationship because we don't want to hang on to that stress and anger and that shitty, icky feeling around money. So the only way we can do that is by doing these things daily or weekly. Whether like it's pretty easy to say thank you to money daily. You know what I mean? Um, and whatever affirmation aligns with you, you know, like I'll be the first millionaire in my family. How fucking cool. It's safe for me to be a rich, powerful woman. Also, fucking cool. We want to say these things to ourselves, right? Anyway, enough about me yapping. So let me stop sharing. I'm going to do some activities now. Let me just, let me see. Do you need your notebook and pen yet, probs? All right. So this activity doesn't require our note yet, but have you got a notebook, a pen, or something to write on?
I can grab one. Yeah.
Yeah. Grab something to write on.
All right. Yeah.
Actually, do you have any questions or anything first? Because I realize I just fucking yapped so hard.
I
Any
think
questions that you want to bring up or anything come up for you before we go into the activities?
no, I don't think any questions. I thought that was really good.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely resonate with that like resistance or like fear of spending. And I think for
mm,
like always like hesitant and kind of like keep it away. And I'm like, oh, like um and try to save. But then yeah, I think that's definitely something I need to work on. And
mm.
like yeah, the gratitude, like acknowledging it more. Um,
Yeah.
sure.
The gratitude will really help with the resistance. And also ask yourself when you're about to purchase something like, is this an investment? Is
Yeah.
this worth it? Like, am I just doing it for the sake of it? Like, I think that's also really important because we're allowed to hold on to our money if it's going towards something that feels really good and feels aligned. You know, like I'm trying to like save money for Europe, for example. So it doesn't mean I'm going to go and spend all this money just because I've got a good money mindset. It's like, well, a good money mindset is also being, I guess, like cautious of where it's going, but having good energy around it. So it's like, I'm not holding it because I'm scared I'm not going to have money in 6 months' time. I know for a fact I'm going to have money in 6 months' time, but it's just about being smart. So ask yourself the next time you want to invest in something or even buy a coffee, it's like, do I really need this? Do I want to like, and if it's a yes, then fucking know that you can because you're allowed to, you know? That's really important. Um, Also I love saying instead of saving money, like stacking, because it just feels
Yeah.
boss bitch, right? We're stacking money, you know? So even doing that, change. See, language is everything. Anyway, all right, so this activity is going to be a little bit of like a fire round. I'm just going to say like how many statements are there? There's 33 statements, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to write like the first word, first few words, or if it's a sentence that comes to your mind straight away. Okay, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you don't like it, even if you're just like, why the fuck did I just think that? You're going to put that to paper because there's no time to think. Okay, it's going to be like a, you know what I mean? So now we're trusting the subconscious mind because normally the first thing that comes to our mind is literally the exact thing that we want to say. Okay. So we're going to go with it. Okay.
Okay.
Like, all right, cool. Ready? So people with money are,
Yeah.
money makes people,
Yeah.
I would have more money if my father thought money was. My mother thought money was. I would be more successful if in my family, money equals. If I were successful, I would.
Oh, no. I feel like I'm like caught off guard now.
That's all right. If I could afford it, I would. I'm afraid that if I had money, I would. Money is. Money causes. In order to be more successful, I need to. When I feel successful, I usually. When I see other people being successful, I usually. Having money is not. In order to have more money, I would need to. When I have money, I usually. I think money.
So I think money.
Mm-hmm. Dot, dot, dot.
Oh.
That's right. My father could never. My mother could never. People think money. A person can be successful if. Being broke tells me. Looking through my father's eyes, I am. Looking through my mother's eyes, I am. If I did better than my father financially, then if I did better than my mother financially, then success always. I deserve. I don't deserve. And then last one, people deserve to have money if. All right. How was that?
I don't know, I feel like I contradicted myself with a bit of it.
Mm.
That's definitely like a little theme that came up. Um, yeah, it was kind of tricky to like at the start I was like, I'll just put like first word and then yeah, I think I threw myself off a little bit because then I like would say things and then I was like, I don't actually know if I feel that or if I believe that or like
Mm.
I had to think about it.
Like what specifically?
Um, can't even remember them now. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just kept contradicting myself. Like, there was some that was like, it was like money is, and then I would be like helpful, and then you'd be like money causes or like money creates, and then I'd be like problems. But they're
Mm.
two different things. Um,
Mhm.
and then, yeah, like the theme, there was a few times that I wrote like working harder,
Mm.
and I don't even know what that one was, but yeah, like stop working for money. And then yeah, like a few times I wrote work harder.
Mhm.
And then like especially when you got to the parents, like for both my parents, I would put like that they think like when you said my father thinks and my mother thinks like that I'm like incompetent or like unable to make
Mm.
money. And I think that's been a big thing like in my life as well because we've like dad's always it's been very old school like dad's always been the one to make the money and then mum gave up working like when me and my sister were born and was like full-time mum so dad's always kind of been like make sure you marry someone rich and
Yeah.
show you and it's always just been that like well that why don't you believe in me that I can make the money for myself like that I have to
Mhm.
rely on someone else so I think just having the way mum and dad have like that their relationship play out and mum stay home and stuff
Mhm.
always been like definitely a fear in the back of my head that I'm like I don't want to do that like I want to have a career and I want to be able to make money myself
Mhm.
yeah that definitely came up again in that exercise so yeah it's interesting.
Has he ever told you you're incompetent?
No,
Mhm.
not like he hasn't used those words, but I feel like at times it's kind of been like implied.
Mhm. When
Yeah,
did you decide that?
yeah, good question. Um, I don't know. I think like he if he does, he says that in like a joking way. But
Mm.
yeah, or he'll like for example, if we ask for anything or if he buys us something expensive and then he'll be like, oh, you better make sure you marry someone rich that can provide like for me.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, like I need someone else. Like it's like that, yeah, that belief that like, oh, I can't do that on my own. Like I
Mhm.
need to rely on someone else for it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Mhm. Or can it just be that all he knows is to provide as a man for his wife?
Yeah.
So he expects the same for your future partner
Yeah.
instead of it being that you're incompetent to do it yourself.
Yeah.
See how we add meaning to things that might not be true. If you asked him, Dad, am I incompetent? What do you reckon he would say?
I don't know, to be honest.
Were to know?
Pardon?
If you were to know?
Um, honestly, I feel like he'd like make a joke out of it or laugh.
Mm.
But I don't think he would say yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. This is what I love about NLP is that like along our journey, we just add meaning to things, right? Because notice how he's never said it directly, but we have decided somewhere that his jokes mean I'm incompetent.
Yeah.
So we must work hard to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
When, if we just go back to whenever we made this decision and ask ourselves, did he actually say that? Or did I make that mean that?
Yeah.
And just like with our money mindset, is that today you can just change the entire meaning to his jokes and know that his joking or his sense of humor is purely based on the fact that him as you're Greek, aren't you? Him as a Greek man provided for, is your mum Greek too? Yes, provided for his Greek wife so that she didn't have to work. But then his daughter wants to work to make money. And probably that probably makes no sense to him. You know what I mean? Because my dad used to be like, finish school, go to uni, get married, have kids, get a good job. I'm literally 29, not married, no kids, don't even own my own home, right? But am I going to just decide that means I'm a failure, right? So can you decide that you know how to make money and it just might mean something completely different to your dad?
Yeah.
Can you?
Maybe. Yeah.
Mhm. Because do you reckon you're incompetent?
No.
Great. So why is anyone else going to think you're incompetent if you don't believe you're incompetent, right? And sometimes, like, did your dad have his own business at all?
No, but he had like a few different like
Mm. Because I guess like in like the European slash world culture, it's not normal for a woman to go start a business, especially in breath work. That's not even part of their world, right? Like they what their version of working hard is go work 12, 14 hours a day, provide for your family, end of story. We're out here trying to do as minimal work as possible, but make as much money as possible. It's a complete flip,
yeah.
right? So it's also just like letting them say whatever it is they need to say and just knowing deep down that it's because we're in completely different worlds, right? Like when I told my mum I want to leave Vic Pole, time and time again, she'd be like, are you sure? It's a good paying job, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, lady, I've never been more sure in my entire life. But just because she's saying that doesn't mean that, okay, maybe she thinks I'm going to fail my business. Maybe she thinks I'm not good enough. It's just a safety, right? So can your dad also be trying to provide safety in the sense of like, if she just gets a rich man, she doesn't need to work. Why is she trying to work?
Yeah.
Like your mum, who didn't have to work because your dad provided.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Because we can create any scenario we want when words come out of people's mouths. So why not choose a good one so
True.
we can keep moving forward and do the things we want to do?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Because I think you're amazing. So that's what matters. Okay. Any other questions about that or anything else you want to dive in for our next activity?
No, I think that's good.
Sick. All right. So this one we need our $50 note. We don't need to take notes because I guess you can just answer the questions since it's just you and me. Yay. Look at you. All right. So what we're doing here is we're going to really embrace our relationship with money. Okay. So I'm going to ask you questions, right? And I want you to look at that note when I ask you these questions. Okay. First off, how do you even feel just looking at that note? Like, how does that make you feel?
Um, I don't know, maybe a little bit of resistance.
Yeah, great. This is going to be so fun. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna ask you questions about money first. And then what we're gonna do is we're then gonna swap. So you're gonna pretend to be money, right? And I'm gonna ask money these questions about the relationship with Jess. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, I know. I remember the first time I did this, I was like, what the fuck? And then we're going to do it from like a universal perspective. So it's like we're going to zoom you out and we're going to look at Jess, and we're going to look at money, and we're going to answer the questions looking at that relationship from an external. Okay? Cool. So consider money as an organic field. So beyond the debt-based control system, it's a universal level of exchange, neutral, expansive, abundant, and it's just looking for somewhere to flow. It is the same field for everyone, a way of sharing love and appreciation. It can be seen as gratitude. And I wonder if this is something that you've connected with, or perhaps a program that has been placed on top of money along your journey. If I were to ask you, whose voice does this money sound like to you, who would it be?
Wait, as in whose voice?
Mm-hmm. Whose
Money.
voice does money sound like to you? If you look at that $50 note, who does it sound like?
That.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Alrighty. So, to you, what's your experience here with this note?
Yes. Well, the fact that I had to literally go, I didn't have it on me, and I had to literally go in the in the kitchen and ask mum if she had a $50 note. That probably, yeah, some
Mm.
relationship with it.
And how does it feel to sit opposite this note?
Like it feels a bit disconnected or like detached, like it's not mine, doesn't belong to me.
Mm. Is that because we took it off mum?
Yeah,
Or okay, can we pretend like you're gonna transfer mum $50, okay? So that this is yours now. So right after this, you're transferring her $50. Does that make you feel like this note is yours now? Because that's really important for this
yeah.
task. Okay. You're giving mum $50 and this is yours to keep. Okay. So rate your relationship between 0 and 10 with your $50 note.
I can see.
Mhm. And what conversations do you reckon you have unconsciously with money?
Um, yeah, I think it comes back to like that I need to save it because I'm like worried that I'll lose it or I won't be able to, yeah, keep it.
Mhm. And what do you most regret in this relationship?
Um, like not trusting that it will come and blow my
Mhm.
life.
What are you most afraid to say to money? Yeah.
That I deserve it.
Nice. Okay. Now we're going to do the swapsy. So you're going to be money. Okay. Whether
Yeah.
you need to sit on it or whatever it is, but really embody that note speaking to you. Okay. You can do that. All right. So what's money's experience here?
It feels stuck.
And how does it feel to sit opposite Jess?
Um, yeah, probably like a bit, yeah, a bit resistant and yeah, I still feel like it's like a feeling of detached, like a disconnect.
Mhm. And how would money rate the relationship between 0 and 10?
Maybe lower, maybe like a four or yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah. What does money think needs to be done to increase this by a few points?
I think yeah, to surrender, to trust, and to believe in myself.
What's money most afraid to say to Jess?
To stop trying to control.
What would it take for money to connect more with Jess?
Yeah, gratitude.
Mm. What words of wisdom does money have for Jess?
Believe in myself.
And what does money see in the future for Jess?
I'm getting like emotional.
Great, good.
Abundance. Oh my God, why am I getting emotional?
Honestly, like before we get to the next bit, it's a big deal, our relationship with money. And it's so okay to feel emotional and cry and let it out because we don't see money this way. We don't see it as a relationship. We just see it as numbers and we just spend it and we take it and we do what we want with it. And like I said at the beginning of this session, money is just energy, okay? And we have decided as people, as humans, as a society, to add all these programs, add all these emotions, add all this, add all that. And now you get to decide from today how you want to treat it. And that's really eye-opening. It's overwhelming. It's a lot, but it's also really fucking cool knowing that now. And of course, you're emotional. It's so okay. It's okay. It's part of the bonding experience with you and money, you know? Um, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do like that universal perspective, all right? So we're going to zoom out and we're looking at Jess and money. What do you notice is happening in this relationship with Jess and money?
Um, yeah, it feels like there's a disconnect and that, um, yeah, it's the resistance,
Mhm.
and
Cool.
fear.
And what do you most want to share with Jess about what you see here?
Yeah, I think that I need to like zoom out and yeah, like see it for what it is. And then it, like you said, like it's my own beliefs that are layering on top of it, and it's not the truth.
Mm. And then last question is what else do you think is possible in this relationship?
Um, Definitely a lot more like flow and freedom.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, definitely more like abundance, I think, and gratitude as well.
Yay. Oh my God. Well done. Tell
But
me, how are you feeling?
yeah, it was very confronting. I feel like I've never like, yeah, sat with that before or like, yeah, even thought about it that deeply.
Mm. Yay.
Yeah,
How do you feel like you're going to feel about money moving forward now?
definitely more grateful. Um, But yeah, I think it definitely like highlighted. I just feel like there's been a lot of like areas that I've just felt stuck in. So it makes sense that like it feels like my money's stagnant or like stuck as well. And that like, yeah, the sense of resistance. Um, so yeah, it like keeps coming back to that idea of like trust and surrender. And I think, yeah, just like having that confidence in myself. Um, and then I feel like once I do, and the self trust, I think once I do, then that will help with everything, including the like money flowing more freely and like the relationship with money as well, being less resistant and rigid.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yay. Yay. Do you feel like after this session and those activities that that's really going to help change how you feel about that resistance and that like, yeah,
yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm so glad. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open because like I said before, like some people get really weird when they talk about money because it's not normal. And I am like all for opening that space up because it's a part of every person's life. And you can either choose to stress about it or you can choose to just build that better relationship and feel better and just know that you're always going to have it. And, like let's say, like, would your parents ever give you money if you asked them?
yeah,
Right. So there's just like another stream of like learning to be okay with the like opportunities that you have. Like even like with getting loans at the bank, like people get so fucking weird about, but it's also like, it's just another way of being able to obtain it. And if you just do it with such good energy, then it's going to feel fucking great.
I think that's the thing, like even with my parents, like they're amazing with money, like, and that's the thing, if I ever needed it, like they'd give it and they offer it to me. So, but in my mind, I feel
Mm,
like you said, like it's that I've taken that belief of like, well, they don't think I can
mm,
make it, they think that I need to get it from
yeah.
them. So it's like it almost like when I receive it, instead of feeling that like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for this, it's like I feel a sense of like guilt or like shame. It's like shame that I have to like
Mm.
take it off them.
Yeah, interesting because they're just giving it, right?
Yeah.
And what if like their soul's purpose was to just make so much money to be able to give to you? You know? Like, do you want to have kids one day?
Yeah.
Would you like to be able to be like, here's fucking $50, $500, take it?
Yeah.
Like my soul's mission is to be able to give everyone in my fucking family money. But if they're anything of like who I used to be, they would just like fucking reject it. It's like, no, no, no. We're trying to encourage. And also, like, if we want to be able to make money, we also need to be open to receiving it in whatever way it comes. And the biggest lesson I had was not too long ago with my coach around money. It's just that like money has brothers and sisters. And that's where those other streams of income come from, because that's technically like, obviously, when we get our own salary and stuff like we make it, that's ours. But when it's coming from friends, when it's coming from family, it's kind of like money's relatives that are just like coming, like, want to hang out with Jess today. You know what I mean? It's kind of literally like when you start to just see it that way. And I know it sounds so fucking silly sometimes when it comes out of my mouth. I'm just like, can't believe I'm saying this. But it just like, it allows you to be so much more open. And then, like, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we start being so much more open with money and feel so good and all that gratitude, it's going to leak into every other aspect of your life, and then asking for money is going to come so much easier. Like telling someone, okay, I charge $1,000 for this day. It's going to be easy because you receive money so well. You know what I mean? And it just takes little steps every single day to start getting better and better. Because I used to be exactly like you. I used to be like, oh my God, I work hard by myself. I don't need money from anyone. Right? Now I'm like, if anyone wants to give me money, I'll take it. Okay? You know, because you deserve it. And that's
Yeah.
part of the abundance is that it doesn't just come from you working so hard and creating burnout. It actually, like, abundance is everywhere. We just have to open our eyes and see it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like if you go out for dinner and someone wants to pay, let them. Because it all goes in circles, right? One day you're just going to do it for someone else. Same if they get you a coffee. It's like that's part of the resistance of saying, no, no, don't, I'll do it. It's like, let them, allow it, receive it. So that when you do want to go spend money for someone else, it feels good. Because it's like, oh, I know what it feels like to let someone do this for me. How do we truly know what it feels like to receive if we like have that resistant energy, right? So, yay, I feel like that's something that you can really focus on is that, and that gratitude, babe, will change everything. Even when you need to go buy something that you don't want to fucking buy, like whatever it is that you're like, oh my God, this thing again. Thanks, money, for letting me do that. A bill, okay, don't want to pay, but thanks. Thanks so much, money. You know what I mean? Like, the more grateful you can be, even when you don't want to spend it, like, the more it's going to come to you because you're still so fucking grateful. And deep down to the core, it's like, I know I've got to do this and I know it feels good.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I don't think so. I feel like that was good. Yeah.
Yay. Oh my God. I am so glad. Just remember, daily small practices create the everlasting change. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. Thanks so much for jumping on. I'm so glad you were able to jump on for this.
A little one-on-one.
I know. Look at you. But if anything comes up throughout the week, like obviously, you got emotional and just know that that's okay. Something might come up later. It's very eye-opening. So allow it and just feel it. And if anything comes up, just shoot me a message. Okay.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Love you so much. Have the best night.
Thanks, you too, Rami. See
Bye,
ya.
darling.